I'm Daniel, this is Tiffany. We're with Stunning Stays, and today we're talking about 5 love languages of property owners. First, revenue. Second, property care. Third, communication. Fourth, trust and transparency. And fifth, pride and ownership. Okay, so let's talk about these things real quick in detail. Number 1 being revenue. Why revenue? And what can the property produce as the general revenue, right? What's the rent that it can be realized? Second item, property care. Okay, the client, the property owner, if they happen to drive by, if they happen to be, they're out of town, they live out of town, they come into town, they drive by and they see there's weeds, they are going to be upset because they think that it's being taken care of. Okay, so that is very important to keep the property in super top-notch condition. Third, communication. Communication is important to set up front when you are creating that business relationship with the client, with the property owner, because you want to ask them up front, how do they prefer to be communicated? How often? Do they prefer text? Do they prefer a phone call? Do they prefer email? How do they prefer to be communicated with? And then how are we going to actually are we going to live up to that expectation? You're setting the expectation as to how often should you communicate. Is it always just going to be a problem when you're communicating? Hey, I'm only contacting you because there's a problem. There's a fire, there's an issue going on. We got to replace the sheets. We got to do something else. And, or is it going to be more frequent than that of, hey, good news. We got another guest. We got another booking. Okay. Well, how often do you need to communicate? And number 4, okay, trust and transparency. They've got to be able to trust you, and you've got to be transparent. Okay. A complaint that I get with other clients that we bring onto our business, that we onboard, they say, hey, their current property manager, they're not transparent. I just have some questions about what does this represent on the report? Okay, how many bookings does this represent? How many, what's going on? What is my average daily rent and my average daily nightly stay? These sort of things that they don't have transparency. And then it leads to them questioning the property manager that they're working with.
What you said was important because the trust actually comes from the revenue they receive. If they go buy a property, like you said, and they see weeds, that depletes the trust level because, like you said, they think it's being taken care of. And so all these things that you're talking about actually build trust or deplete trust. And so when you're setting up expectations, it's important to talk about all these things. And revenue, if an owner's making money, 9 times out of 10, they trust you. And if they don't, if they're not making money, then that trust is going to start depleting. Like, what's going on? Why am I not making money? And that's when all the questions come in. So it's important that you put up expectations and you communicate all these things, communication, revenue, property care, the things that you're talking about. This either builds your trust or depletes it.
Absolutely. The 5th item is pride and ownership. And this is a combination of guest experiences and guest reviews. Overall, their pride of ownership. What's their level of pride and ownership based on how it's performing and like how are the reviews? How are the stays going? So these are things to keep in mind when you're dealing with a property owner in your business. And this is what they're definitely the top-notch important things that we deal with our clients and our property owners.
And pride and ownership will determine if we will bring on a client as well, because pride and ownership will determine if they want to do maintenance, if they don't want to do maintenance, if they want to scrimp on every little bitty thing, or if they see it as, hey, I have pride and ownership. If there's something that needs to be done, just get it done so we can move on and get bookings. So pride and ownership is a whole thing that will even determine if we'll bring on a client or not.
Definitely. And there's times where we're not the best fit, or if we go and we do an inspection and it's not set up the way we want, we're not a good fit. So definitely. So these are things to consider when dealing with your clients.